India's security and sovereignty is the first priority when the current government is just introducing the FCRA bills 2026. It's under of the 16 16,000 NGO, which is receiving 22,000 crore rupees from foreign country. This is basically for the utilization of health, educations, and they will serve for the society, also for sustainable approach, and also for the sustainable environmental concern. This is basically for the utilization of the human developments and health. But in the behind we have behind the scene is a very challenges when the NGO is funded, like the different types of protest which is funded by this type of NGO, which is operated basically in the south and also for the west. In northern states have not more find of NGO, but basically more of the NGO which is finding the southern and western. It is affected more than 60% NGO in Kerala. The significant and its optimistic challenges for the government to record and find out for the this type of non-governmental organization, and they are funded by the different European country and African country, and also for the American agency, and also Australia and Japan, which is funded in this NGO. It is basically for the working for the human development workplace, but they just be utilization of the foreign. They just utilization for the different type of illegals activity which is happening in India since 2010. Okay, because 2010 it is just introduced, and 2020 2020 2026 March 2026 it is introduced in the parliament, but lack of proper voting it is not be proper pass. But in this monsoon session it will be try to the government, and they are ready for the pass FCRA bill in this monsoon session. So the you have seen how CJP protest is basically for the backside of the students, and they are protesting in the different way, because there is different types of video circulation in CJP protest, but no one a student is aware of the FCRA bills, and they just be protesting like the resignation of education minister. But the main agenda of this protest is basically for the government imposing imposing and stopping like the this type of amendment which is not introducing like the FCRA bill 2026, because it will drastically affect 60 to 70% NGO in India which is operated legally and illegally. Okay, because if someone NGO have not FCRA certificates, so they will be their property will be comes under the government, and it will be removed from their a different instance. And if they are not renewable in under 5 years, so they have be removed, and their property which is comes under the government, and they will government will acquire their property and their building and their different assets and different reasons. So the different opposition leaders, and also for the different NGO organizations operations officers which is protesting in the different region of the Indian states, and this is basically happening when the monsoon season is started, because the government try to this bill pass in 20 July, and 20 July you have seen how CJP protest is raising for the parliament process. Parliament is surrounding, and it is just try to threats for the government that will try to the pressure for the government. It is just behind for the students, and think about the student protest, and it is tied to the uh, allegation of the government that will not introduce the FCRA bills in 2026. and this is the understanding points how this JP is just demonstrate, and it's just exploited the innocent student. If we have seen how they are just think about the origination of education minister, but basically this is also for the opposition, and also for the different NGO which is just try to the pressure out for the government that could not introduce FCRA bills, and because if it will introduce the foreign money which is not coming in India, and if it comes in India, this will monitor by the central government like the Ministry of Home Affairs, and it will also receive in the State of Bank of India, especially in the State Bank of India, no other banks which is involvements, and this will in this money which is monitored under the Ministry of Home Affairs, and if it is just basically for the utility of the health, education, sustainable development, forest, and also for the humanitarian approach, so it will be passed for the governments. And if they have just try to the told about the NGO, what are the purpose of this money which is come from the other country, and what is the more objective of this money. Just try to the clarification of the Ministry of Home Affairs under these amendments, and it is basically for the challenges for the NGO, like if someone have not the proper addressing and proper certificates, it will remove by this, and this will affect for the human health educations, and different approaches which is they operated. But why they are just try to opposing this FCRA? Because in the government think about this type of NGO which is operated money laundering. They are operated for the different reason of the country which protesting, and they will just funded for the different way of the protesting which is against of the government. They will just destroy it for the Indian sovereignty, security, internal sovereignty, and threats for the humanity. Because the Ministry of Home Affairs, why they are just introducing in these times FCRA? Because they are just try to the Ministry of Home Affairs just clarify that if NGO have any type of money received, so they will have accountability through the Ministry of Home Affairs, and they just try to ensure about this funded money where they are utilized by the NGO, and what is the basically तुम यहाँ से जाती ही नहीं what what are the basic utility and utilization for this NGO, this funds when they are received by the other country? Because they are just basically the NGO is most of the money utilization for the threatening the Indian security and sovereignty. You have seen how the Uttarakhand protest is a protest is going through a long times, and how the farmer protest, and how the Sahin Bag protest is taking long time. Because government think if we cut a leaf, so the plant will just they are going tremendous, and if they just we remove the roots, the plants will automatically remove. So the government just trying to the remove of the roots, because if the roots is removed, the plants is automatically they will die. So they are just monitor from the FCRA amendment bills 2026, and governments just provide for the Indian civilians for the security and sovereignty. Most of the American prime minister, not American presidents, Donald Trump is also said in the June's, they are funded 21 millions for the removal of the Modi governments in 2024 general elections. They will reveal in the meetings, and they will also taking a stance for the, they are funded for the India for the illegals working activity, also for the Japan's, which is they are funded for the Indian NGO, because NGO have no any accountability of taxes. Like if NGO have received any kind of money, they will not provide they will not pay any taxes. And they utilize for the, they said for the utility of health, education, and humanitarian resistance and approach. But more of the NGO which is working for the illegal activity in India, and many of the country which is funded, which they are funded in Indian NGO directly. But this amendment bill which is introducing in the parliaments, and if the NGO is applicable, they will be apply for the FCRA certificates, and they have just give the accountability of Ministry of Home Affairs. And if they have not be capable to give the accountability, their license, their certification certificates will removes, and their property will under capture by the government, because they have threatening the policy, they have threatening the Indian peace and prosperity, sovereignty, and the utility for the different fundeds for the Indian sovereignty. So the government try to the raising concern about this FCRA bills. Okay.